In today's exploration of Buddha's path to enlightenment, we dive into chapter 6, Contemplation of the Body, focusing on the contemplation of the body. This practice invites us to acknowledge our physical form, understanding that it is both a vessel and a temporary experience. By being present in our bodies, we can cultivate mindfulness, enhancing our connection to the here and now. Mindful breathing and awareness of our body, our bodily sensations, help us let go of distractions and bring clarity to our thoughts. Join me on this journey as we embrace the practice of mindfulness or mindful contemplation together. For a complete explanation of all our foundations, here we dare settle for a brief synopsis. Contemplation of the body. Kaya na pusana, which is the Pali word for it. So, the Buddha begins his exposition of the body with contemplation of mindfulness, of breathing. Anapana sati. Anapana sati is a Pali word for it. Though not required as a starting point for meditation, in actual practice, mindfulness is breathing usually serves as the root meditation subject. Mula kammatha is the Pali word, the foundation for the entire course of contemplation. It would be a mistake, however, to consider this subject merely an exercise for neophytes. By itself, mindfulness of breathing can lead to all the stages of the path, culminating in full awakening. This is contemplation of the body. In fact, it was this meditation subject that the Buddha used on the night of his own enlightenment, when he first became enlightened. Yeah. He also reverted to it throughout the years during his solitary retreats and constantly reminded it to the monks, praising it as peaceful and sublime, an unadulterated blissful abiding, which banishes at once and stills evil, unwholesome thoughts as soon as they arrive. Try it, practice it. Try it. It's an absolute, it will relieve you of all your tensions. It will bring you closer to mindfulness of the body. Mindfulness of breathing can function so effectively as a subject of meditation because it works with a process that is always available to us. Yeah, the process of respiration. What it does to turn this process into a basis for meditation is simply to bring it into the range of awareness by making the breath an object of observation. So this is during the process of meditation. Make the breath the object of meditation. The meditation requires no special intellectual sophistication. only awareness of the breath. That's all it requires. Vipassana. Try that meditation given to us by the Buddha. One merely breathes naturally through the nostrils, keeping the breath in mind. At the contact point around the nostrils or upper lip, where the sensation of breath can be felt. As the air moves in and out, there should be no attempt to control the breath or to force it into predetermined rhythms. Just notice the sensation as you breathe in and out. Only mindful contemplation of the natural process of breathing in and out. That sensation on the nostrils. That's all you need to focus on as you breathe in and out. Don't speed up the breathing, don't slow down the breathing, just notice the sensation. The awareness of the breath cuts through the complexities of discursive thinking, rescues us from pointless wandering in the labyrinth. Keeps the mind focused. The Noble Eightfold Path of vain imaginings and grounds us solidly in the present. And this process grounds us. For whenever we become aware of breathing, really aware of it, we can be aware of it only in the present, never in the past or the future. That's clever, because we're breathing all the time. It's with us all the time. We can do it anytime. The Buddha's exposition of mindfulness of breathing involves four basic steps, four steps. The first two, which are not necessarily sequential, require that a long inhalation or exhalation be noted as it occurs, as you breathe. And then a short inhalation or exhalation be noted as it occurs. So one simply observes the breathing, the breath moving in and out. That's all you need to do. Just observe it, the sensations on the nostrils. Observing it as closely as possible, noting whether the breath is long or short. Note whether it's long or short. This keeps the mind occupied. As mindful grows sharper, or the mindfulness of this process, as you grow sharper, the breath can be followed through the entire course of its movement, from the beginning of an inhalation through its intermediary stages as the breath moves up through the nostrils, stages to its end. Then from the beginning of an exhalation through its intermediary stages to the end until you breathe out. This third step is called clearly perceiving the entire breath body. That's what it's called. The fourth step, calming the bodily function, involves a progressive quieting down of the breath. This is what the last step, quieting down of the breath. And as its associated bodily functions until they become extremely fine and subtle. Beyond these four basic steps lie more advanced practices which direct mindfulness of breathing towards deep concentration and insight. There are other methods, but the method just mentioned is the best to start off with. And other practice in the contemplation of the body which extends meditation outwards from the confines of a single fixed position. Is mindful of postures. The body can assume 4 basic postures: walking, standing, sitting, and lying down. There are four postures. And a variety of other postures, marking the change from one posture to another. Mindfulness of the postures focuses full attention on the body. In whatever position it assumes. When walking, one is aware of walking. When standing, one is aware of standing. When sitting, one is aware of sitting. When lying down, one is aware of lying down. These are the 4 postures. But awareness of the position of the posture is important, very important. Concentration of what you're doing, yeah, the posture that you're in. The awareness of changing postures, the contemplation of the postures illuminates the impersonal nature of the body. It reveals that the body is not a self or the belonging of a self, but merely a configuration of living matter subject to the directing influence of volition. There is a certain amount of energy within this matter, this body. The next exercise carries the extension of mindfulness a step further, takes it further beyond the body. Well, beyond the 4 postures. This exercise called mindfulness and clear comprehension. Mindfulness and clear comprehension. Sati Sampajana, that's the Pali word for it, adds to the bare awareness an element of understanding. When performing any action, one performs it with full awareness of clear comprehension, going and coming, looking present. For if not, we can look into the future or the past. Involves a sequential way of doing. As it occurs, as this process occurs, serving it as a short inhalation, as through the inhalation, beginning at the beginning, the middle, and the end. This body is the progressive functions, these 4 mindful positions, which are fixed, which are fixed, of which you are totally aware of. And so the right mindfulness ahead and looking aside, bending and stretching. These are the physical postures of the body. Yeah? Right mindfulness. Aside, bending and stretching, dressing, eating, drinking, urinating, defecating, falling asleep, waking up, speaking. We need to be aware. We need to be totally mindful. We don't have to only be mindful during meditation. We need to be mindful throughout the day. How else are we going to arrive at enlightenment? Only try it during meditation. So, these are occasions for the progress of meditation when done with clear comprehension. In the commentaries, clear comprehension is explained as 4-fold. And the first is understanding the purpose of the action. That is recognizing its aim and determining whether that aim accords with the Dharma. That's the first one. The second one is understanding suitability. That is knowing the most efficient means to achieve one's aim. That's the second one. And the third one is understanding the range of meditation. That is keeping the mind constantly in the meditative frame, even when engaged in action. And the fourth one, the fourth one, is understanding without delusion. That is seeing the action as an impersonal process, devoid of a controlling ego entity. And that's the fourth one. So, this last aspect will be explored more thoroughly in the last chapter on the development of wisdom. The next two sections on mindfulness of the body present analytical contemplations intended to expose the body's real nature. The real nature is what we really want to contemplate on. One of these is the meditation on the body's unattractiveness, already touched on in connection with right effort. The other, the analysis of the body into the four primary elements. There are four primary elements. Investigation into it. This is what the Buddha recommends we do. The first, the meditation on unattractiveness, is designed to counter infatuation with the body. We become infatuated with the body. So the Buddha wants us to, counter the infatuation with the body, especially in its form of sexual desire. The Buddha teaches that the sexual drive in a manifestation of craving, thus a cause of dukkha that has to be reduced and extricated as a precondition for bringing dukkha to an end. Dukkha is suffering. How do we stop that? The meditation aims at weakening sexual desire, which causes us suffering, by depriving the sexual urge of its cognitive underpinning, the perception of the body as sensually alluring. Sensual desire rises and falls together with this perception. It springs up because we view the body as attractive. We become totally body conscious. The whole world's become body conscious. We think we got great bodies. We've fallen in love with our bodies. Well, this is a way to get out of it, out of that state of mind. It declines when this perception of body is removed. The perception of bodily attractiveness, in turn, lasts only so long as the body is looked at superficially, grasped in terms of selected impressions. The counter that perception we have to refuse to stop with these impressions, but proceed to inspect the body at a deeper level. We need to go deeper. We need to understand. The Buddha is directing us to go to a deeper level of understanding the body. With a probing investigation. With a probing scrutiny grounded in dispassion. Precisely this is what is undertaken in the meditation on unat or unat or unattractiveness. Unattractiveness of the body, which turns back the tide of sensuality by pulling away its perceptual properties. The meditation takes one's body as object, since for a neophyte to start off with the body of an other. So this is it. The Buddha is training us to develop a sense of dispassion for the body, which causes us a lot of suffering. A member of the opposite sex might fail to accomplish the desired result. Using visualization as an aid, one mentally dissects the body into its components and investigates them one by one. Once you've dissected the body, investigate it one by one, bringing their repulsive nature to light. The text mentions 32 parts, and these are 32 parts: the head, the hairs, body hairs, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, the spleen, lungs, large intestines, small intestines, stomach, contents, excrement, brain, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, snot, spittle, synovial fluid, and urine. The repulsiveness of the parts implies the same for the whole. The body seen close up is truly unattractive. It's beautiful exteriorly, appearance a mirage. It's beautiful, it's quite a mirage, it's not beautiful at all. Aim of this meditation must not be misapprehended. The aim is not to produce aversion and disgust, but detachment, to extinguish the fire of lust. Basically, we need to remove lust from our practice. Basically, that's what is required. This whole analytical contemplation deals with the body in a different way. This meditation, called the analysis into elements, sets out to counter our innate tendency to identify with the body by exposing the body's essentially impersonal nature. It's quite impersonal. The body is quite impersonal. We think it's personal. It's not really. The means it employs, as its name indicates, is the mental dissection of the body into the four primary elements, referred to by the archaic names earth, water, fire, and air, but actually signifying the four principal behavioral modes of matter, solidity, fluidity, heat, and oscillation. These are the four, the behavioral modes of matter. The solid element is seen most clearly in the body's solid parts, the organs, tissues, and bones. The fluid element in the body fluids, right? In the body there are all these fluids. The heat element in the body's temperature. This is a comparison, this is the truth of the body. The oscillation element in the respiratory process. The break with the identification of the body as I or myself is effected by a widening of perspective after the elements have come into view, after we've analyzed all these elements and our relation to the elements. Having analyzed the body into the elements, one then considers that all four elements, the chief aspects of bodily existence, are essentially identical. They're all identical. Essentially, they're all identical, with the chief aspects of external matter, with which the body is in constant interchange. There we go. We have a very close relation to matter. When one vividly realizes this through prolonged meditation, really deep insight meditation, one ceases to identify with the body. When you're no longer identifying with the body, it's different. We'll talk about it later. One sees that the body is nothing more than a particular configuration of changing material processes, which support a stream of changing mental processes. That's after this deep meditation, realization of the state of the body. There is nothing there that can be considered a truly existent self. There's no self. You'll find there's no self. Nothing that can provide a substantial basis for the sense of personal identity. The last exercise in mindfulness of the body is a series of being mindful of the state of the body. Buddha recommends cemetery meditations, contemplations of the body's disintegration after death, which may be performed either imaginatively, you can imagine what happens to the body after death, with the aid of pictures, or through direct confrontation with a corpse. By any of these means, one obtains a clear mental image of a decomposing body, then applies the process to one's own body, considering this body now, so full of life, has the same nature and is subject to the same fate of dying, of decomposing. One day, you're not going to be the same all the time. You're going to change. Okay? Has the same nature and is subject to the same fate. It cannot escape death. Well, we cannot. Cannot escape disintegration. No, we can't. But must eventually die and decompose. Can you imagine yourself dying and decomposing? Well, the Buddha wants you to understand that that's what's going to happen. Nothing's permanent. Again, the purpose of this meditation should not be misunderstood. We shouldn't misunderstand this meditation. The aim is not to indulge in a morbid fascination with death and corpses, but to understand our egoistic clinging to existence with a contemplation sufficiently powerful to break its hold. Break our hold with this excitement of being alive, of being infatuated with the body, of body consciousness, of removing it, clinging to existence, subsists through the implicit, assumption of permanence. In the sight of a corpse, we meet the teacher who proclaims everything formed is impermanent. So then we can have a good realization of impermanence by the meditation of the of the body, of what happens to the body, the disintegration process. Yeah? And when the body decomposes, you're not going to be that pretty anymore. You're going to lose all that attractiveness, that body consciousness. So, there's a lot in this delivery. There's a lot. The first is the breath. sensations of the breath, sensations that we feel at the tips of our nostrils, the meditation of those of the breath, entering the nose, entering the lungs, the sensation in that process, and the full concentration on the sensations. It keeps the mind occupied, keeps the mind from drifting, from being scattered. The Buddha's trying to bring us back into the mindfulness of breathing, of controlling the mind from drifting into the past and into the future and into the day's work that you've been doing. What a great day you've had. Well, you need to detach from all that and focus on this, this breathing exercise the Buddha has given us. A mindfulness of the breath entering the nostrils. And then the Buddha spoke about meditation of the four postures of walking, of sitting, of lying down, and so on, the four postures. And the mindfulness of sitting, the mindfulness of walking, the mindfulness of lying down, and so on. The Buddha spoke of those four postures. And the full mindfulness in those postures. The awareness. This is the Buddha's trying to bring the mind back. Instead of it being scattered, the Buddha's trying to guide us towards being mindful. Whilst we're walking, and the sensations we feel while we're walking, under our feet, the movement of our limbs. The Buddha wants us to have a full concentration when we're lying down, or when we're sitting, or whatever we're doing, and when we're working, while doing work, while dressing, while brushing our teeth, while going to the toilet, while defecating, while drinking, while eating. We need to be totally mindful at all times. The Buddha's trainings, well, it's the training of the mind at the end of the day. This is it. This is what the Buddha's aiming. His main aim and object is to control the mind from drifting, from being scattered. So whatever we do, we perform mindfully. Whatever we say, we are mindful of what we're saying and what we're talking about. Whatever actions we perform, we're totally mindful of. And this is the Buddha's encouragement in us exercising mindfulness. So, I hope you've enjoyed this delivery of the body, of meditation of the body. So until next time, but if you've enjoyed this delivery, I'm sure as much as I've enjoyed delivering it to you, I'd like you to subscribe to my channel, because there's a lot more coming your way. The entire noble Eightfold Path is coming your way, complete with commentary, in-depth commentary. So, until next time, Have a great day and stay safe.